think we're ready.
Okay, good morning, everybody. It's a busy day. We appreciate your attention to what I consider to be an exciting opportunity for Illinois to grow jobs. My name is Representative Mike Zaleski. I represent the 23rd District in the Illinois House. I'm joined today by Mark Denzler, Phil Gonnett, and Bill Gibson. We are here to discuss the Advanced Illinois Manufacturing legislative package. Today we launched the Advanced Illinois Manufacturing Coalition to advocate for permanent tax solutions that will provide stability and predictability for job creators. We need to do more in Illinois to attract business growth and development, which is why I'm sponsoring House Bill 5717, which includes these four provisions: a permanent research and development tax credit. We want to reform the manufacturer's purchase tax credit. We want modification to the graphic arts sales tax exemption, and a permanent coal, aggregate exploration, mining, and off-highway tax exemption. These tax credits will provide targeted incentives with measurable benefits for employers large and small. Just a brief word on these. I've worked with Mr. Denzler and the gentleman here. I've tried to be as helpful as I can in manufacturing in Illinois. And manufacturing is the cornerstone of what we're trying to do to bring jobs to Illinois. It's vitally important that we grow our manufacturing base. It's vitally important that manufacturers see Illinois as a place to grow their business and come to Illinois and place their business. I'm excited to carry this important legislation. I think it's vital. It's something that Democrats and Republicans can agree on as we go forward. With that, I'd like to introduce Mr. Mark Denzler.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. And first, Mark Denzler, Vice President, Chief Operating Officer with the Illinois Manufacturers Association. I also like to thank you for being here. And I'd really like to thank Representative Zaleski for his championship of this legislation. He has been a strong leader for manufacturing in Illinois for a number of years. We're proud to help lead the AIM Coalition, joined by several partners today and many more that are listed on your press release. I'm going to talk about two of the provisions before I turn it over to Phil and then to Bill. First of all, Illinois manufacturers today employ about 570,000 workers directly. We contribute about 12.5% of the gross state product. The single largest percentage of GSP is provided by manufacturing. And last year we contributed $101 billion in total economic output to the state. Research and development is absolutely critical to manufacturers in the state of Illinois. Not only manufacturers, but agriculture, high tech, pharmaceutical. It's absolutely the lifeblood of manufacturing. Manufacturers have to build new products. They have to improve on products to be able to sell those. Last year we exported $68 billion worth of goods. 93% were manufactured products. Manufacturer employees average more than $70,000 a year in wages and benefits, and we're home to 450 corporate R&D facilities in Illinois. The reason that we're seeking a long-term permanent extension of the R&D credit is, as Mike said, for stability and predictability. The R&D credit has expired 4 times in the last 13 years. 4 times we've seen it disappear and later be reenacted. So we need the certainty. Companies are looking 5, 10, 20 years down the road about what products they're going to develop. And this endless cycle of it expires, it's gone for 6 months or a year, it comes back, we've got to stop that cycle. These are highly technical skilled. Within the R&D platform alone, R&D jobs average $90,000 a year. So these are good, high-paying jobs that make up the middle class. The second issue is a little bit more complicated, the manufacturer's purchase credit. What we're seeking to do with that, it's a very convoluted, complicated process. It was created back during the Edgar administration when he was governor. It's been in existence much like the R&D. It's come and gone, come and gone. This is really important, particularly small and medium-sized manufacturers. This provides the incentive for tangible products that are used or consumed in the manufacturing process that don't become part of the end product. So all 4 of these incentives today, they're nothing new. They're things that the state has had that encourages manufacturing or graphic arts or coal or aggregate exploration. And it's just important, again, that Representative Zaleski is taking the leadership. This is, as he said, a bipartisan issue. Republicans and Democrats have all agreed on these provisions before, but we just need the long-term certainty and predictability moving forward. So with that, I'll turn it over to Phil to talk about his section.
Thanks, Mark. My name is Phil Garnett. I'm president of the Illinois Coal Association. The Illinois Coal Association represents all the coal producers in the state of Illinois. We've had a spurt in growth in production in the last few years. Although last year we slipped down about a 2% decline. As most of you may have heard me talk about before, we've got a war on coal from the administration out of Washington, D.C., and that and low natural gas prices have made it a challenge for us. We lost 700 jobs last year, probably to those two issues. Tough regulations coming down the pike from the federal government and low natural gas prices. And we could lose another 600 jobs this year. Two words that you're going to hear a lot today: stability and predictability. These tax exemptions are helpful to us for a couple of reasons, because we can plan for the future, but also we're in competition in the Illinois basin. The Illinois coal basin extends into Indiana and Kentucky, and that's who we're competing with costs. It's harder to get a coal permit in Illinois than it is in Indiana and Kentucky. And worker comp costs in Indiana and Kentucky, you've heard manufacturers say that before, are less than they are in Illinois. So this is very important for us for stability and predictability and competitiveness, so we can go forward with mining coal in Illinois. We contribute about $2 billion to the state's economy with the 56 million tons of coal that we did produce last year. And in a shrinking market, only the low-cost producers will survive. So these tax incentives are really important to our industry. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Bill Gibson with the Great Lakes Graphics Association. Bill.
Thank you, Phil.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you, gentlemen, very much for your support. Representative, thank you once again for your support. The Illinois graphics art industry is a sizable employer in the state of Illinois, and it's comprised of a community of extremely innovative firms encompassing the newspaper industry, the commercial printing, mailing, fulfillment, and finishing industries. According to the North American Industry Classification System, there are more than 2,300 printing establishments in our state, employing more than 55,000 people. These companies combine for more than $9 billion in shipments in 2015. As we grow our businesses and as we implement the latest industry trends and run companies efficiently as well as profitably, it is essential that we connect with a positive business climate in the state to provide incentives to remain and to keep our companies more competitive, more attractive for small business opportunities, and better at retaining and creating employment opportunities. This sets us at a disadvantage right now in the marketplace as competition increases across our state lines. As a committed member of the AIM Coalition, we see that the renewal of these incentives is critical to the survival of the commercial printing industry in Illinois, and support our proposed legislation to permanently include the graphic arts sales tax exemption and the manufacturer's machinery exemption and equipment exemption. Members of the Great Lake Graphics Association are proud to support House Bill 5717 and thank Representative Zielinski for his sponsorship of this bill. The renewal of these incentives are critical to the survival of the commercial printing industry in Illinois, and presently 49 other states offer some kind of economic incentive to commercial printers engaged in manufacturing activity. We are at a disadvantage in the marketplace. Therefore, the Great Lakes Graphics Association supports a permanent R&D tax credit, reform to the manufacturer's purchase credit, otherwise known as the MPC, modification to the graphic arts tax exemption, and a permanent coal aggregate exploration, mining, and off-highway sales tax exemption. When lawmakers talk about making Illinois more competitive, about more small business opportunities, and about stopping job losses to other states, this is exactly the type of legislation they should be supporting. Thank you, Representative and members of the AIM Coalition.
We're happy to take any questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm almost surprised that Governor Rauner isn't here cheering you all on. This looks like it's right in his wheelhouse. Where's he on this?
You know, I haven't had the chance to speak with the governor. My hope and expectation is that given his focus on being this Illinois a pro-growth state, that he'll embrace this legislation if it gets to his desk and sign it. And the sooner we can do that, the sooner we can start growing jobs in the state of Illinois.
Now, what do you think all this is gonna cost?
I'm not sure. Do we want
The different provisions, so first of all, I think you have to recognize the bigger picture, Dave, and that is, without these, we're seeing job loss. Last year, Illinois manufacturers lost nearly 15,000 jobs, for example, it averaged about $70,000 a year. So 3 of the 4, the R&D, the MPC, and graphic arts have already expired in the last 8 to 14 months. The coal aggregate is getting ready to expire, so keep in mind, these are not new incentives. They've been part for 20, 30, 40 years. And so I think combined, it's less than $100 million. We are open to looking to pay for it via other means, but we just want the certainty and the predictability and the stability, because again, when last year we lost 15,000 good manufacturing jobs paying $70,000 a year, you're losing tax revenue, you're losing money to go to restaurants, people buying cars, going on vacation. So this is actually gonna help stimulate the economy and help keep some of these jobs in the state.
Even with that argument, though, I mean, the state's in such financial strain and social service programs are being cut. I mean, is this really the time to be offering tax credits? Is there any concern about that?
As Mark mentioned, we're not offering them as much as we're keeping them in the code. I think what you heard Mark say was employers are looking at stability and predictability and what the General Assembly chooses to do and not do with respect to its tax code. This is all about predictability and stability. If we're able to align our tax code with the needs of businesses and manufacturers and the stakeholders, we'll see more jobs coming to Illinois, we'll see more revenue coming in, and the revenue side of the equation will allow us to do the things we need to do to fund those services you talked about earlier.
Now, while Mark is up there, I've got one more, if that's all right.
Go for it.
Mark, while you're up there, we heard COG for this week give its forecast, and one of the things they said is manufacturing jobs, are going away, especially downstate. I'm sure you're here to tell us that Illinois does remain open for business for those manufacturers.
I think, Dave, what I would say to you is Illinois is an attractive state for many fronts. First of all, we're centrally located. We have great colleges and universities. We have a skilled workforce. We have a great infrastructure system, more miles of train. We have rivers, a world-class city. But we lost 15,000 jobs last year. However, you look at other states. You look at Indiana's job growth or Michigan's job growth. So a lot of manufacturing jobs are coming back from overseas. We need to make sure Illinois is attractive to compete with those jobs. I've glanced at the COG report. I haven't dug down into it, but I think what Representative Zaleski said and what the others said is we have to be competitive, whether it's a job in the coal industry who's competing or the graphics industry. We have to make Illinois attractive so these companies want to invest here, they want to grow here, expand here, or come to the state. And if not, we're one of a few states that don't have an R&D credit right now. And so these are the high-tech, advanced manufacturing, pharmaceutical, ag jobs. We don't want to lose opportunities because we're an outlier and we don't have this type of incentive.
You mentioned the great universities and colleges in Illinois. Wondering what your organizations, or any of you can answer this, what does the uncertainty that's going on with higher education right now mean for manufacturers and other businesses in Illinois? I know it's a little bit off topic, but since you brought that up as a reason that businesses come to the state.
Sure. I think the entire state needs stability and predictability, and certainly the colleges and universities are facing a difficult situation right now. I'm not well versed in all the nuances, but certainly from a manufacturing standpoint, education and workforce development is important. What I can tell you, again, we have 570,000 manufacturing jobs. 1/2 of those workers are going to retire in 10 to 15 years. So the studies right now say we need 25,000 production workers and 5,000 engineers every year for the next 12 to 15 years just to replace what we're going to see in retirement. So the whole education system is important. The K through 12, keeping kids engaged in math and science in junior high, the community college, technical schools, four-year university. So education is certainly important for manufacturers.
Any other questions?
I guess one more, there's been a lot of discussion about the need to expand the tax base. Why are these particular things, why should they be off the table when we look at new ways to increase revenue in the state?
In terms of why we should not
include these, letting these go away as the state looks for new ways to bring revenue in.
I've always when it came to the talking point of closing corporate loopholes, that's a nice talking point, and I think it plays well in press releases and the way we communicate with our constituents. But ultimately, a lot of those corporate tax loopholes that people refer to are tax credits and tax incentives designed to help small businesses grow their business. So when it comes to these types of programs and things we want to encourage the state to participate in, we need to be strategic, certainly, and we need to not be careless when we evaluate our tax code. But when you hear manufacturers and these gentlemen crying out for the very thing we've done in the past that they've seen as being successful, it's something that we shouldn't try to recreate the wheel in the General Assembly. We're not very good at that. So we should stick with what works. We should listen to the stakeholders when they tell us they need the help that we're able to provide. And if we do that, chances are we're going to have more success than if we try to think outside the box and do things that are harmful to their businesses.
Mind if I throw something in on that too? You talk about expanding the tax base. I would contend that these do expand the tax base. Mark said we lost 15,000 jobs. You grow this economy with job growth. That brings in more tax revenue. That's expanding the base. So the predictability, the stability, the tools that we can use to retain and attract new jobs is going to expand that base, and the state revenue will grow from that. So I would contend this is one of those that would expand the base.
Okay, guys, thanks
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.